Welcome to today's podcast where we will be exploring the fascinating topic of Egyptian mummy burials. The ancient Egyptians believed in the afterlife, and the mummification process was an essential part of their funerary rituals. In this podcast, we will explore the process of mummification, the significance of burial practices, and some interesting facts about mummy burials. To start, let's understand the mummification process. Mummification is the process of preserving a body by removing all internal organs and treating the body with chemicals, such as natron, to prevent decomposition. The process of mummification was a complex one and took up to 70 days to complete. There were two types of mummification: embalming for the wealthy and natural for the poor. Embalming was a very expensive process, and only the rich could afford it. The poor were buried naturally, where their bodies would be placed in shallow graves, and the hot, dry sand would naturally dry them out, leading to a form of natural mummification. Moving on to the significance of mummy burials, the ancient Egyptians believed in the afterlife and believed that the mummified body was necessary for the soul to continue on to the afterlife. They believed that if the body was not properly preserved, the soul would be trapped in the earthly realm forever. Therefore, they took great care in preparing the body for the afterlife, and the mummy was considered to be the physical vessel that would carry the soul to the afterlife. Let's move on to some interesting facts about Egyptian mummy burials. Did you know that the Egyptians sometimes buried animals with their human counterparts? The ancient Egyptians believed that animals held a special significance and were often associated with gods and goddesses. Some animals, such as the cat, were even considered to be sacred. Therefore, it was not uncommon for Egyptians to bury their pets or other animals they held in high regard alongside their human companions. Another interesting fact is that the ancient Egyptians believed in the power of amulets. Amulets were small, often intricately designed, pieces of jewelry or charms that were believed to protect the mummy and its soul in the afterlife. These amulets could take many forms, from the Eye of Horus, to scarabs, to the Ankh, which symbolized eternal life. These amulets were often placed inside the mummy's wrappings or on the mummy itself. Did you know that some mummies were buried with their faces covered? The ancient Egyptians believed that the mummy's face held a special power and that it was important to keep the face covered to protect it from harm. Therefore, some mummies were wrapped so tightly that their faces were completely covered. In other cases, a mask was placed over the face, often depicting the likeness of the deceased or a god or goddess. Thank you for listening to our podcast on Egyptian mummy burials. We hope you found it informative and interesting. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to our channel for more fascinating content. Stay tuned for our next episode where we explore another topic that will leave you amazed. Thank you for your support.